So you decided for the like you always he said that they're like them on like they're trying they like overcharge anything.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. You're not getting your test back today because I've got 6 people to take that test. Um, one student's coming in today and then 5 tomorrow, I guess. So hopefully I'll get everybody going to give them back Thursday. Okay? But we're starting a new chapter and corporations. We went through proprietorships. We touched on partnerships on this last test. And now we've got corporations. That's the 3 major forms of business organization in our country, capitalism. And of course, there are others. There's nonprofits and so forth. Corporations, there's LLC, which is similar to a partnership. But the 3 big forms we are covering. Now, corporations is brand new, and it has nothing to do with Chapter 11 and Chapter 12. Everybody's on equal ground to start this chapter and to learn about this chapter. Now, some characteristics. It can sell shares of ownership called stock. The corporation is a legal entity. It can be sued, and I've mentioned this before, I think. It can be sued like a person, okay? And we know some of these big companies have been sued, like McDonald's for hot coffee or fatty foods, or cigarette companies because somebody got cancer smoking too much. Corporations can be sued, and they have been sued. It may also incur liabilities and enter into contracts. It's just like a person, same as a person doing business. And we have big corporations in this country. Probably if you bought anything this morning anywhere, it's probably a corporation, unless it's proprietorship, a gas station, or dip-in market could be a proprietorship, or what have you. So if you're driving a car, it's a corporation. If you're wearing clothes, corporation made them. Okay, if you're wearing glasses, or you got a calculator, or if you got a book, corporations made them. All right, so corporations are important. Stockholders are the owners of a corporation, sometimes called shareholders or even stakeholders, but simply they are stockholders. Corporations whose shares of stock are traded in the public markets are called public corporations. Corporations whose shares are not traded publicly are usually owned by small groups of investors, and sometimes non-public, private, or even family corporations. Now, characteristics of a corporation, not only is it a legal entity, but you have limited liability. If you buy a share of stock in a corporation, that's all you can lose is that share of stock. The stockholders control a corporation. They elect a board. The board elects the CEO. Some of these CEOs, we may have mentioned, make 20, 30 million a year in salary. And they all have accounting or finance background, by the way. They are not, the background is not speech or any of those items, programming. All right. The organization of a corporation, you've got this in management, organizational chart. Stockholders, board of directors, the CEO, other officers, and employees. Now, any of you own a share of stock in any company? any of you own a share of stock in any company. All right. The Dow goes up and down. And I've got a little icon on my phone, whereas the Dow, it goes up, down, or NASDAQ. The Dow is some of the biggest corporations in the country. NASDAQ is some of the biggest technology corporations. And then we have our Mercury Stock Exchange. And in Chicago, we have a commodities for beef and pork and wheat and corn, gold and silver and so forth. Show you something real quick if I can bring it up. Thanks to me. All right, here is a company that I invested in. I just bought 100 shares. I wish I'd have bought more. Now, I bought this stock in Disney and it sold for $19 a share 7 or 8 years ago. So I paid $1,900. And you can multiply my 100 shares now by the price. All right, at $1,900 right now, I can sell it today for over $1,100. I mean, $11,000. Okay, so you can win on stock or you can lose. It could have went down. Okay, bought some Nike stock one year. It was going down. I sold it, then it went back up real good. So forth. But I bought some stock I've been lucky with, some didn't do too well with it. Now, not only has this stock went up for me, but it's paid me a dividend every year. A little bit of a dividend. So I've received a dividend and so forth. And when I first bought this stock, they even sent me a Disney watch. So forth. It's long gone. But anyway, that's just one stock. If I were teaching an investment class, I would have you to play a phony stock market and see how well you could do with real companies, phony money over a semester's time. But we're not playing the stock market. Now, the stockholders pay income taxes. Any stock I have, I get dividends on, and I pay taxes on the dividends. And the corporation cannot take dividends as an expense. The corporation pays its taxes. That was a big thing in Trump's last tax program. It got corporation taxes down from 30-some% down to 21, I think it was, percent. Now, there's goods and bads about that, I guess. But if a corporation pays a high tax rate, they pass it on to you when you buy their goods, so forth. Now, this is where double taxation comes in for a corporation. Corporation pays taxes. When the owners get dividends, they pay taxes. So that's the double taxation aspect of a corporation. Advantages and disadvantages: a separate legal entity, continuous life. If a shareholder dies, that will continue. They can raise larger amounts of capital. Ownership rights are easily transferred. They have limited liability. If you sue a corporation, you can only break the corporation. You can bankrupt the corporation, but you can't sue the stockholders. Disadvantages: the owner is a separate legal form. Management, come and go. But you can get, I think that's an advantage. You can get good management in a corporation. The double taxation and regulations. And again, Trump has got rid of a lot of those corporation regulations that affect corporations and even proprietorship. All right, one of your first steps in forming a corporation is to sell stock. says a lot of the companies are incorporated in Delaware for some reason. Do what?
They don't charge tax.
Oh, they don't?
Because I think it's on your income.
All right, they have more favorable laws, which would be tax laws too. For this reason, more than half the largest corporations, they have their home office in Delaware, okay? Examples of corporations, of course, most of you are familiar with these. Caterpillar makes a lot of equipment. Deere Company makes a lot of farm equipment, lawnmowers. You know what Delta Airlines is? You know what General Electric is? They're located in New York. The Home Depot, Kellogg Company, RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, Starbucks, 3M, Walt Disney, and Whirlpool. That's just an example of some corporations. But you can name a lot of corporations involved with the car industry, which is the big three in this country. But we have a lot of other automobiles made in this country through Japan or wherever. All right, when you form a corporation, you may have legal fees, taxes, state incorporation fees, license fee. Now, one person can incorporate. If you got a business proprietorship, you can incorporate it. Charleston just writes a state corporation commission and get the incorporation papers and fill them out. Now, an attorney will probably charge you $2,000 to incorporate you. A CPA will charge you $1,500 to incorporate you, but you can incorporate yourself for $75. All right, just get the incorporation papers from the State Corporation Commission in Charleston. Now, if you do have organizational costs, of course, you can see the journal entry here, debit those costs and credit cash. Now, if they're minor and immaterial, take them off currently. If not, you can amortize them. So from now on, we have stockholders' equity instead of capital. We have assets is equal to liabilities plus stockholders' equity. So that's your accounting equation. Stockholders' equity instead of capital, or instead of OE, owner's equity. Same thing. And we will put our earnings into retained earnings. That is current earnings and past earnings. Retained means it retains some in there. Dividends, we'll look at the interest for that. Net income increases retained earnings. We know a net loss will be a minus retained earnings. All right, dividends will decrease retained earnings. We didn't use the income summary too often in this book, and it's mentioned it. It should not mention it, didn't give it to you before. Retained earnings is like revenue. Profit, it does have a credit balance. If you get a negative retained earnings, you might go bankrupt. You pay a dividend only on outstanding stock. You'll understand that a little better later. All right, we may have 100,000 shares of stock authorized, but we may have only issued 70,000 of those. All right, but if we call some back in, it's called treasury stock. and we may only have outstanding 60,000. So this is what we pay a dividend on, the amount outstanding, okay? Stock has a par value and a market value and a lot of other values, as you'll see. If you're a shareholder or common stockholder, you have voting rights. We sell common stock, we sell preferred stock. Preferred stock is almost like bonds. If you only issue one class, make sure it's common stock. Preferred stock, you might guarantee a dividend. Try to guarantee one, whether you can pay it or not. Now, if you've got money available to pay dividends, preferred stock gets paid first. All right, number one, common stock gets paid last. You'll see what cumulative preferred stock is in a few minutes. All right, here are dividends paid. We're going to pay dividends in arrears to preferred stock. I'll have to give you an example of that, show you what that means. So forget about that right now, dividends in arrears. We'll look at an example. All right, this company has 20,000 shares of cumulative 1% of 100 par, 100,000 of common, 100,000 shares of common. All right. Now, what is 1%? Let's see, a preferred stock. What's 20,000? Multiply 20,000 times 100. See what you get. 3,000 shares times $100 a share. What do you get? Would somebody multiply that? How much? Now that's the par value of your stock, and you're only going to pay 1%. Now what is 1% of 10 million?
It's 2 million.
2 million?
Yeah.
20 million? Wait a minute.
2 million.
You just add 2 zeros to the 20,000.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. 20. Didn't hear that. Because what's 1% of 20 million?
20,000.
Okay, we're trying to guarantee preferred stock $20,000 every year. But as you see, the following amounts will distribute as dividends. Well, we can only pay 10, but we owed 20. We paid 10, but we owed 20. So how much is in arrears? We owed 20, we paid 10. How much is in arrears? 10. 10 in arrears. Arrears just simply means behind, okay? So we're behind. 10. Okay, the next year we could give 45. Now preferred stock gets their 20 plus 10 in arrears. 20 plus 10 in arrears is how much? 20 plus 10 is how much?
30.
All right. So we give preferred stock in year 2, 30,000. All right. Now in year 3, we have 80,000 to give out. How much does preferred get? 20. How much is left for common? 60. Now, looking at what we have up here, divide what preferred got in year 1, and year 2, and year 3 by 100, let's see, by 20,000 shares. Divide 10,000 by 20. Divide 30,000 by 20 and divide 20,000 by 20. That's your dividends per share for those years, which you will be calculating. Now, what would you get when you divide 10,000 by 20? 50 cents, yeah, 50 cents a share. And here, $1.50 a share. And here, $2 a share. $1 a share. All right, it averages out to $1 a share because 1% of $100 par is $1 a share. $1. Or we could have taken looked at that a different way. Now, common though, look what common got in year one. They got 0 per share. How much did common get per share in year two? 15 divided by 100,000. $1.50 or
15 cents.
15 cents. Okay. And over here they got 60 cents. But they only paid, the par was only 50, or preferred was 100. So we'll be looking at those things as we go along. We will be able to calculate dividends per share. All right. Let me try to give you on notepad some kind of example, since it did come up here. All right, let's say we have 10,000 shares of preferred. And it's $100 par. And it guarantees a 5% dividend, okay? Now you can go ahead and do your math on the preferred stock. That's $5 a share. Or that's 5 times 50, or 10,000. So your dividend, no, I don't care how you calculate it, I believe is $5 a share, 10,000 shares. That is 50,000, isn't it? That's the dividends that you're trying to guarantee. Now, another way to do that, multiply 10,000 times 100. What do you get? All right, multiply 1 million times 5%. You're going to get 50,000 both ways, aren't you? $5 a share or 5% of total par. Now, common stock, let's say we have 20,000 shares of common. And let's say we sold that for $10 par. Now, par means nothing when you go to buy stock. As I told you, Bill Gates, his par value was 1/10 of a penny per share. We started Microsoft. And that's what he issued it to himself for. But he ended up being the richest man in the world there temporarily. But now who's the richest man in the world? Is it Beto over Amazon? Is he the richest man now? He owns Washington Post and Amazon. He's been in the news a lot lately. All right. All right. Has anybody seen a picture of him, the owner of Amazon? No. Have you seen a picture of his mistress? No. If you see both of them, you'll see why she's after money. All right. All right. Anyhow, we got the ingredients here now, don't we? Those are mega corporations. He's the owner. Bill Gates was the owner of a mega corporation. Same with Apple, Amazon, Facebook, any of those. The corporations don't have to manufacture things. It can be like Walmart's a large corporation, Amazon's a large corporation, Facebook's a large corporation. All right, let's say in year one, now you need to jot this down because I'm going to run out of space here. Then I've got to show you the solution to this. Let's say in year one, you can pay out dividends of only $20,000. In year two, you can pay out $70,000. In year three, you're able to pay out $100,000 in dividends. In year four, you're able to pay out 120. In year five, you really did great. You paid out 300,000 in dividends to owners. Now, here's your setting. Here's your problem. The question is, how much dividends does each class of stock get each year? Now, your book may or may not show you a decent example on this. The one that I showed you in PowerPoint is what the book had. Now, remember these figures, okay? And you may need to repeat them back to me. All right, I would start this with the dividends over here. I want to give out 20, 70, 100, 120, and 300. Then I'd want to know how much I gave preferred stock. I would head this column dividends. I would head this column preferred stock. And I'd head this one common stock. And I would head this column arrears. ARREARS. Okay. That'd be my first column. Preferred stock, common stock, and arrears. And this would be dividends per year. Should have left myself more room up there, but just, that's dividends. All right, now, how much of this 20,000 does preferred stock get the first year? All of it, right? Common gets how much?
0.
All right, and arrears is how much?
30.
How much?
30.
See, now Jessica's already got the hang of this. All right, how much do we owe preferred stockholders the second year? We do owe them all of it. We owe them 50 plus 30, which makes how much?
80.
But we can only give them how much? Common, again, gets 0. How much is in arrears? Still 10. All right, when we move down to year 3, we owe preferred 50 plus how much is in arrears? So we give preferred how much? 60.
Yeah, like where are you getting the 20, 60?
Yeah.
Pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's start over. Margot, did you see the calculations on where I got 50,000 and we pay preferred stock? Well, we erased all that.
I mean, I have it.
I mean, I have it wrote down.
Right.
Okay, so that's a part of this problem.
Yeah, I wanted to say that part of it. That's where we got the 50,000 we owe preferred in dividends. Now we've got money these years to give dividends. Now this is what we're trying to do. If we owe preferred 50, we can only give them 20, then the other 30 is in arrears. We owe them 30 plus 50, and we can only give them 70, so the other 10 is in arrears. We owe preferred 50 plus 10, we give them 60, and there's nothing in arrears. Kelly, did you follow that?
Like halfway.
No, I want you to follow it all the way. All right, we'll have to look at another example, okay? Let's finish this one out. All right, how much does preferred get in the 4th year? Nothing in arrears. Common gets the remainder of what? 70?
So where does the 50 come from?
That came from the first information I wrote down. We had 10,000 shares of preferred times $100 per share, wasn't it? That was $1 million. And Kendrick multiplied 1,000,000 times 1%, got 50,000. Right, Kendrick?
Yeah, that's 5%.
5%.
Yeah.
He multiplied 1,000,000 times 5% and got 50,000. That was the dividend. Jessica did it the other way. She just figured $5 per share. And she multiplied $5 times 10,000 shares. And that still gives you 50,000. Now, 5% can only be $5 if the par is 100. Otherwise, you would have to do it like Kendrick did and multiply by the percent. But we'll look at another one in a minute. All right. So preferred gets 50 here and common gets 150.
200.
Yeah, 250. Okay. All right, and nothing in arrears. So that is cumulative preferred stock. It is not non-cumulative. It is cumulative. And this is the hardest example it gets.
So why on the second one does it add up to 80,000 with the 70,000 and 10,000 in arrears?
You take the 30 from number one, like what's on it, and
Oh,
then you add it to the 50.
30 plus 50 gives you 80. We can only pay 70, and that leaves 10 in arrears.
okay.
All right, we're going to have to look at one more example.
Please.
All right, at least one more. All right, and your book sometimes not good on these. All right, let's take preferred stock. I'm just going to call that PS from now on, and CS for common stock. And let's say we have 100,000 shares. Now, it don't have to be $100 par. So I'm just going to make this $50 par. And we're going to 10 preferred stock 2%. That's cumulative. Now, if it's non-cumulative, preferred would have only gotten up to 50,000 each year. Common stock, we're going to issue also 100,000 at $5 par. We don't guarantee them a thing, okay? Now, here is your setting. Here is your basic information. Now, you will have to multiply 100,000 times 50 and get what? 500,000 or 5 million?
5 million.
Now, multiply 5 million times 2%.
70,000.
That gives you how much? How much of a dividend will that give you?
100,000?
Multiply 100,000 times $50, then multiply that by 2%. I'm thinking it's what, 50,000? I don't know. I haven't worked it out.
At 2%, it's 10,000.
10,000. It's 50 cents a share. If it's $50 par, it's not a dollar a share. No, I'm looking at 2%. That'd be okay. Do it that way. Best way is do it the way I've got it
No,
here.
it is 100,000.
100,000.
Best way is do it 100 times 50 times 2. How much is that, William?
100,000.
$100,000. Okay. Had it been $1 a share, you just multiply $1 times 100. I was trying to do it another way, and it still works. If it's 50 cents a share and 2% instead of 1, it's still like a dollar a share. Okay, but don't do it that way. Do it this way every time, and it'll work. All right, now Margot and Kelly, do you have your basic info here now? All right. Well, this says we got to pay preferred, if it's cumulative preferred stock, we got to pay them 100,000 dividend every year, right? All right. So I'm going to completely erase this. I just know we're paying 100,000 dividend. We got 100,000 shares of both. All right. This is the dividend we're going to give out in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how much are we going to give to preferred stock? And how much common stock? How much did we have in arrears any of those years? Okay, the first year, I'm gonna give out $78,000. Second year, $120,000. Third year, $500,000, and the fourth year, $1 million. Now, all of you take a minute and fill in these answers. Take a minute and fill in those blanks, especially these 8 blanks. Okay, Taylor. What does preferred get first year, Taylor? How much is common get? And how much is in arrears? All right, Kelly, how much does preferred get in year 2? How much?
100.
They get to 120. How much does common get? How much is in arrears?
$10,000.
I believe it's 10. All right, we had 30 in arrears. We owe 130. We can only give 120. That means 10 that we have still in arrears. Okay.
How do you get that 10?
All right, now Margot, listen. We got to give 100, right? We can only give 70. So how much do we still owe them?
Right, I get
In arrears that we still owe them. Now comes another year, right? We owe them 100 for year 2 plus 30 from year 1. What is 100 plus 30? But we can only give them 100 and what happened here? Now we can only give them 120. We owed them 130, so there's still 10 in arrears, right, Margot? Now, Margot, tell me how much I paid the preferred stockholders in year 3. Well, Faith, help her out. No, Evan, help her out. All right, Margot, we only owe 100 every year. And then these 10 in arrears makes 110. All right. And we have 390 left. And we have nothing in arrears. All right, Robert Harris, how much do we have? How much does preferred get in year 4? What will preferred get in year 4? Neely, how much does preferred get in year 4? Yeah, common gets 900,000, Millie. How much does preferred get now? 100. Because there was nothing in arrears. All right. I think Henry and Kelly has it. Jessica, have you have it, William? Most of you put that down. Arthur? You get it? 100%? Help Margo. We'll cover it again, we'll have it some exercise. But you may have this on Cengage. All right, we'll leave this. We won't leave it forever, but we will leave it, okay? All right, we're gonna sell stock. We're gonna sell it at par. All right, we're gonna sell 10,000 shares, $100 par, and common $20 par. The corporation issued 5,000. No, we're gonna sell 5,000 preferred and 50,000 common. 5,000 times 100 is 500,000 on preferred. Million for common. Okay, now you've got your stockholder equity section of a balance sheet started. There's an asset, there's stockholders equity. Now in the past, if you started a business, you would have debited cash $1.5 million, and you would have credited John Doe Capital $1.5 million. So it's not capital anymore. A partnership, you would credit capital. It's not capital anymore. It's stock. Okay? And it goes into stockholders' equity. All right. But now what if we sold this stock here for $25 a share? What if we sold it for $25 a share? You got the same entry, except you got more cash, and you got a bonus there of $5, which is called paid in capital. And that should be an entry coming up. I have had pharmacists, hospital administrators, and attorneys take accounting too, so they could understand the corporation, but they wanted to invest. Okay. But what makes the corporation stock go up and down? What can make stock go up today in the stock market? What can make stock go up today? Trade deal with China. If we finish a trade deal with China today, the stock market will go up. If Trump shuts the government down again, the stock market could go down. The stock market is a whole lot of psychology. A whole lot of psychology. But as it tells you here, it could be financial condition, the company's earnings record, the dividend record, and so forth. Let me see if I can get this little gizmo on over here for a minute. No, that's not the gizmo. I had to put one of these in here permanently. On my cell phone, of course, these things, you can blow them up, expand them, what have you. See if I can zoom in. I'm not real. And the color is not good at all. Of course, it's glass. I mean, on glass, the light.
You can change the color on that.
Yeah, I could change the color on this whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it'll make it.
But this is black on my cell phone. But what I wanted to show you, it's not coming in real good. But that's what the market looks like today. Yeah, something has to be changed on that thing. It's probably glass on the glass screen there too. But anyway, the Dow is gaining today. It's up 229 points. I don't know if you can see that on there or not. Uh, NASDAQ is gaining, and the S&P 500. That's all corporations that we're talking about. And then it gives you maybe a write-up or something. But like I say, this is glass on glass and light on glass. Dow drops 200 points on hopes of trade deal with China and the shutdown to be averted. Let's see, Under Armour has a fourth quarter profit, beats estimates. That helps the stock market when one big company beats their estimate of earnings. All right, and tobacco sales are drying up. That's some of the items under the stock market today. All right, if you sell it for more, it's a premium. If you sell it for less, it's a discount. But I don't think we should use those accounts. We will see. All right, now how many shares of preferred are we selling? 2,000 at 55. That's cash. All right. But what was the par value of that preferred stock? $50 a share?
Yeah, but they sold it at 50.
All right. Now 50 times 2 is your preferred stock, 100. That does not change no matter what you sell it for. You record preferred stock at the par. Now if you got a premium of $5 a share, which you do, 50 to 55, then you put it into an account called paid in capital in excess of par. 5 times 2,000 is your extra 10,000. That will be also part of your stockholders' equity. All right, we can take land in lieu of stock. We'll go give somebody 10,000 shares of $10 par. That will sell them for 12 for a piece of land. All right, so we debit land for 10 times, we'll debit land for 10 times 12, and we'll credit the common stock for 10 times 10,000, and we'll credit the excess $2 a share. 2 times 10,000 is 20. So we can take land. Some states have no par stock, so you just debit cash and you credit stock. Now some states make you put a stated value on it. If you do, it's the same as selling it at a premium. Debit cash, credit common stock, and credit paid in capital in excess of stated value. In excess of par value and excess of stated value. So these journal entries are going to be rough on some of you, okay? All right, this corporation issued for cash 15,000 shares of no par at $30. That'd be an easy entry. Limerick issued at par 1,000 preferred 4% stock, $40 par for cash. That'd be this entry. May 19th, Limerick issued for cash 15,000 shares of 4% 40 at 42. So we had a premium on this stock, and that's this entry, paid in capital in excess of par. We normally think of cash dividends, not other assets, but that can happen. You've got to have earnings, you got to have cash, and you got to have the board to pass a dividend. And there's 3 dates on a dividend. The date of record is when you make a journal entry. the date of declaration, it's a liability. Cash dividends, credit dividends payable, what have you. Date of record, no entry. And then the date of payment. So these two dates require journal entries, date of declaration and date of payment. All right, here's your dividends. You pay $2.50 on preferred stock, and you pay common stock 30 cents a share, and you're going to pay total dividends. At that time, you record the liability. So here's what you debit when you declare a dividend. And here's what you do when you pay the dividend. So dividends are easy. It's the stock you're going to have to get acquainted with. Now, stock dividends is another story. I'm probably going to save that for another day. And we're going to practice some of what we already covered. So I'm going to skip through stock dividends real quick. Okay, a stock split. A stock split means if you own 10 shares of stock and they split it, now you own 20 shares of stock. And there's a reverse split. You're going to split that 10 just down to 5 shares. All right? My son talked me into buying a penny stock. It was 70 cents a share. 70 cents a share. Let's see. I bought 1,000 shares, and that was $700. That stock, it kept reversing. A reverse split. Went down to 350 shares. It went down to 175 shares. It went down to 87.5 shares. It went down to about 43 or 44 shares. And it went down to a penny a share. So I ended up with a value of about $8 or something. I it worked out of that $700. And anyhow, bottom line, it wasn't even worth selling. The commission to sell it was worth more than what it would have brought. And anyhow, anyway, I wrote it off on my taxes though. You can take losses on your taxes. So it saved me probably about a third of it back on my taxes. Still a loss, and I quit listening to my son. All right. So that's a stock split, and it can be reversed. Now, a split is what it's trying to tell you. Before the split, you have 4 shares at 100, and after the split, golly, it gave you a 5 for 1 split. You had 4, it gave you 20, but the par value had to be divided. So you multiply the shares times 5 is equal to 20, and you divide the par value by 5. That gives you par value of 20. So now you got 20 shares at $20, and that still is $400, isn't it? 20 shares at $20. Now, if you had 4 shares at $100, it's still $400, right? Treasury stocks, when you buy back your own stock, all right, when you buy back your own stock, you debit treasury stock. Now, it's what you buy it for that counts. You bought it for $45 a share. If you sold it for $60 a share, you made some money. You made $9,000. You credit paid in capital from sale of treasury stock. So every gain you have on preferred stock, common stock, or treasury stock, you credit paid in capital for that gain. All right, we'll look at some of those later. Now, I do want you to look at a balance sheet. Balance sheet. You know you've got assets and liabilities, but here's the rest of the story. Instead of capital, you got preferred stock, paid in capital. You got common stock, paid in capital. You got treasury stock, it's a minus. Treasury stock is a minus, but you got paid in capital from it. Here's your minus on treasury stock. So here's your stockholders' equity, 1,525,000. Another way of doing that, they just showed you the preferred stock, the common stock, and all the additional paid in capital. And retained earnings, and then they took out treasury stock. So two formats of an equity section of a balance sheet. All right, now retained earnings statement. All right, this is like beginning capital plus net income minus dividends is equal to net income. It's like a capital statement. You take beginning capital plus net income minus withdrawal. Here you take beginning retained earnings plus net income minus dividends. All right. A retained earnings statement is like a capital statement in a proprietorship. We'll practice these equity statements. Anybody ever had coffee at Morning Joe's? Has anybody ever had coffee at Morning Joe's?
I've never heard of that place.
Me neither.
I believe there's one in Books A Million, maybe down at Bristol.
I wouldn't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee? Yeah, but what do you drink? But
Morning Joe's all got it.
all right. Okay, earnings per share is very important. That's what investors look like. You take your net income minus your preferred dividends, and you got average common stockholder divided into that to give you earnings per share. EPS, we will be calculating that. All right, you see what you're in for in this chapter? And that's just a little bit of an overview. You're in for a whole lot of new stuff. You gotta start a corporation. You gotta pay dividends. You gotta do a retained earnings statement. You gotta do the owner's equity part of a balance sheet. So you've got a lot of new concepts in this chapter. All right, let's turn over to a couple of exercises in chapter 12. Now, sin gauge. Has everybody got chapter 12 brought up to date on sin gauge? Everybody has chapter 12 brought up to date on sin gauge. You better, I'm going to look at that today and get your scores down. So, chapter 12, no, I probably won't get a look at it till 2 o'clock. So, if you haven't finished it, try to finish it by 2 o'clock. All right. Now, did anybody do that comprehensive problem? I'll take that up today if you did. You turn yours in. Anybody else do it? Got one here. Comprehensive problem. We'll put these bonuses on a test come Thursday. All right, now let's look at the end of chapter 13, not 12. right, I want you to see if you learned. Some of you did. I want you to, let me see if I've got an exercise first. I want you to try to do exercise 13-2 on page 659. Page 659, exercise 13-2. Set it up something like we did in class.
Yeah, there's nobody registered for B.
All right, we're on page 659. We're going to do exercise 13-2. Everybody's going to be serious. Everybody's going to try.
So when they gave me this, we bought quiz, yeah. He just talked to me about it because you know the she just did also. He opened it up. Yeah, yeah. That's why I hate all the time. Just forget about it. Especially when it's old. It's like if it's online, I gotta check it, but I gotta see you and then like. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You already got William? All right, now folks, we had how many shares preferred? Was it 40,000? And the par value is 125. All right, not 100, so you need to multiply. And then what dividend are you giving? 1%? What would be more? See, a dividend of this nature is guaranteed. It's almost like paying an interest rate on a bond. So now, if you multiply 40,000 times 125 times 1%, what guaranteed dividend do you give? 50,000? All right. Now, in year one, how many dividends did we give out? In year two, how much? 58. Year three, was there year four?
Yeah.
Is that it? All right. It's just like we did in class, folks, okay? We owe 50,000 in dividends if it's cumulative. All right? And we give preferred stock and common stock and arrears. All right? So 50 we have to give preferred, the whole 36, right? Nothing to common. And how much is in arrears?
14.
All right, we got to give 50 plus 14. That makes how much? What's 50 plus 14?
64.
But we can only give how much?
58.
So 58 from 64 is 6,000 in arrears. So we owe 50 plus 6. We owe how much out of this 75? And common gets the remainder. Is that 19? And nothing in arrears. All right. Now how much preferred get out of this 124? Common gets,
74.
and there's nothing in arrears. Now, what I want you to do is divide each year here by 40,000 shares. Divide each year by 40,000 shares. That will give you your dividends per share of how much?
90 cents.
How much?
90 cents.
That'll give you 90 even. This would give you 90 cents, if I could scribble it in there somewhere. And 58 divided by 40 will give you $1. All right. And 56 divided by 40 will give you $1. And 50 divided by $1.25. All right, now I want you to add up 90 cents, $1.45, and $1.40, and $1.25, and divide by 4. All right, $1.25. That's how much we give them per share. All right. A dollar, when it's 1%, we're giving $1.25 per share. And averages out to be $1.25 every year because it's cumulative and guaranteed. All right. Now I want you to divide preferred stock by something else. What's the total par value when you multiply 40 times 125,000?
5 million.
5 million? Now I want you to divide 36 million by 5 million. All right, how much is it?
36,000 by 5
Divided by 5 million.
0.0072.
0 what?
.007.
All right, divide 58 by the same thing.
Zero point zero one six.
Zero what now?
0.0116.
5,
6.
6. All right, that is your return on your investment or your earnings per share or your dividends per share, that is. Okay, so if you convert those, to a percent, that's not 1%, but this would be 1.16%. So you can convert those to percent and see what your return is. So now I'll give you some homework assignments. All right, start you off with some exercises, please. For Thursday, I'll do exercise 4. All right, exercise 5, exercise 8. All right, exercise 9. We'll worry about a stock split later. Do exercise 13, and of course 14, and of course read the chapter. All right, we'll continue with this chapter on Thursday. There's a lot to learn. Please read it. Please try your Cengage. Please try your homework, and begin on this chapter. Don't ignore it.